Hey everybody, it's the Wanderer, and today I'm setting up the Mountain Smith Shelter LT 2-pound tarp tent, which I used in my Priest Lake north to south kayaking trip. If you want to see how this held up in the storm, watch the whole video. I've got some footage there of the storm, some great pointers of this tarp tent, and how it handled all the way through. Things aren't always so calm in the Wanderer's camp. Okay, out of the stuff sack it comes, and the stakes, this is step number one, is the initial laying the tarp tent out. Step number two, out of the 13 stakes, I take 3 of them and stake out the back of these 3 in the back. This is really handy. The assembly instructions are right on the stuff sack, step by step for the tent. This is the outside of the tent. I flipped it over so I can see the graduations provided here for the length of the trekking poles. And this Mountain Smith has graduations right on the poles, makes this one very easy, the front one at 53 inches. Just double check it here. The top of it all the way to the basket is 53 inches, leaving this much to secure into the ground. These poles also come with little rubber boot tips that you can put over the carbide tip for on rocky surfaces. So pole number 2, which is the rear pole, needs to be 40 inches. So I'm going from the graduation there to the ground. From there right to there. So front pole's the long one, rear pole's the shorter one. In goes the rear pole, right up into the pocket it sits in. Up, and in like so, right into the ground. The next step is 3 stakes here in the front. Here's one, and by the way, these stakes are V-shaped, very sturdy stakes. And you want to put them in the ground at an angle to where it catches the loop like so. So in a storm, it doesn't blow off. So here's one. This side is 2. And right at the front number 3. So the next step will be actually step number 5. That was those stakes for step 4. Step number 5 is to put this pole in its place, the front pole, right into the reinforced area where it goes, skylines. Like so. Okay, here's step 6. These 2 side stakes. And again, in they go at a slight angle, maybe a 30-degree angle, all the way down as close to the ground as you can get them to catch the loop. Just this side. So as I'm going along here, I'm readjusting a few of the stakes after I've got the poles up to get the tensioning right all the way around the tent so it will weather that storm. Okay, I've got 5 stakes left, and they're for the guy lines. Here's the back one. 2 in the front here. 1 on each side. And I found I like to put this one about right here so I can still access the tent very easily. And the last one on this side. Okay, this is about my 6th time setting this tent up, and at this point you can go around and reposition some of the stakes to be sure that you're laid out properly. This one needs repositioned. Get it a little tighter. Okay. Like that. Okay. Over here, you can see that the tent body is nice and tight all the way around, and there's the Mountain Smith logo. Make sure that all your tensioners are nice and tight so you can weather the storm. Okay, inside we go. Nice heavy YKK zippers. There's also one that comes from the top, so in the big rain you can ventilate here also along with that back vent. So up we go. You can the little loops there that hold back the fly. This fly also rolls back if you want the whole front open. You've got 54 square feet of space in here, good for 1 person and a lot of gear, or 2 people and some of the gear. You could have this open right here in a storm and actually cook right here, and I did that at Priest Lake. It's a very comfortable tent to be in. Okay guys, this is the 2nd time I set it up. It's all nice and even and taut, and notice the level of all the stakes. That V, and then there's a notch in it. I put them in, most of them in at quite an angle, probably about a 30-degree angle or so. But anyway, there's that part of it. I don't know why they put it together that way, but really impressed with this 40D coated inside and out and seam taped tarp tent. Got a little vent in the back. I didn't really understand this because it's so hard to see through there, but there's measurements for the trekking poles that hold this 2-pound tent up. It says Mountain Smith LT on it down there, but it's hard to see through that color. But plenty of room to slide in here and lay down for 2 people or 1 person and a whole bunch of gear. That's about as close to the ground as I can get it. These trekking poles do go up in a reinforced spot. Talked about some kind of ties, but I didn't find any on my tent. Back pole's about 40 inches and the front pole is about 53 inches. Doesn't keep the mosquitoes out at night, but small and lightweight. Poles are the right height on both ends. Okay, this time I've got the little camera and I'm not giving up my hat. I got a baggie over it. But here's my fire pit. The whole campground's flooded. That bear box right there saved my gear. My idea almost worked. I got out just in time. I folded everything up as quickly as I could in that sheet I had on the ground, and in there it went. But let me show you some other parts of this campground. Here's the boat. Here I am with a long sleeve shirt on and a nice coat to keep the rain off of me. I'm going to wait till this lets up, if it ever does, and I got to move my Mountain Smith LT to higher ground. Okay. Level of the fire pit's going down. We don't know if these showers are over with, but I've successfully moved the tent. And of course there's a little moisture inside, but this piece here is a lot higher ground should we get more of that tonight. Getting the condensation out of the inside of the tent. Notice the ventilation. Still throwing some heat back in here. Good morning, Friday morning. Nice hot coffee. The Mountain Smith LT did not leak. There is a condensation issue, but I'm still dry inside in my bag, my sleeping gear. This zipper right here, when it's zipped all the way down to here, it's a long reach even for me with long arms from where you're sleeping to get up here to get this zipper, to get the flap open. So this second zipper the vent, you can just bring that down and you can come right out this way.